Hello and welcome to episode 9 for our Let's Play of the Two Towers. In the last episode we left with Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli making their way to Helm's Deep to defend it from Saruman's approaching army. If you can remember back far enough, we were going west along this path, so just want to continue by doing that. And you'll come to a new screen here in a second. Just continue west. And then north, and you'll come to a crossroads here. As you ride towards Helm's Deep, you encounter a wounded soldier. Where is Éomer? Tell him there is no hope ahead. He should return to Edoras before the wolves get there. Theoden says the last host has ridden forth. It shall not return to Edoras without battle. We shall drive the enemies of the Mark from this land. You can talk to this guy. Oh, wrong thing. Talk. Let's see. Yeah, talk to Saruman. And there's a lot of things you can ask this guy about, so we'll just start off with the go-to, news. I've come from Erkenbrand, Lord of the West March. The orcs have driven him back with great losses. You can ask him Erkenbrand. He is trying to gather those who have survived. They would still be a great army, though the orcs are many. So we'll ask him orcs then. The orcs are all around us. Take care, for they are bold and strong. You can do Rohan. The riders of Rohan are lost to the north and west. I fear Erkenbrand may be captured, or worse. Saruman is another one. I did not dream that such an army existed as his. The orcs seem to be without number. Helm's Deep. Erkenbrand drew the forces north of the dike to secure the way to the Hornburg for any army coming from Edoras. You can do Hornburg as well. The Hornburg is the only place in the Mark where we can withstand an army as large as that which we face. I think that's all you're able to ask him about. That's all I could find anyways. So you'll want to go to the west from this intersection. And soon you'll come to another soldier here. A horribly wounded soldier approaches. The enemy. Aye. Suddenly he keels over and falls dead to the ground. You can take his sword and his chainmail if you like, but you should be probably pretty good with all your characters and their equipment at this point in the game. Gandalf realizes that he must find the armies of Rohan, or surely all will be lost. He offers one last counsel. Go, but not to the forwards of Isen. Go to Helm's Deep and ready her for battle. I will find Erkenbrand. The lands to the north are filled with many enemies. Though they might slow you down, do you wish the aid of some of Theoden's finest warriors? And you'll want to say yes. Because this is a Gandalf-only section, so it'll help to have a couple of extra fighters with you. As the orcs converge on Helm's Deep, one of your members searches for the lost armies of Rohan to bolster its defenses. Gandalf rides off into the north in search of Erkenbrand. And that T-shaped intersection that we just went west at, if you had gone north, you would come to this part. So we'll just want to go to the west, and you'll come to the ford here. You have come to a ford in the river. The crossing is not easy, but you manage it. And you'll find some soldiers here. A group of battered soldiers led by Elfhelm are the sentinels of the ford. They bid you stop and speak with them. So you'll just want to talk to them because you can actually get them to go back and help at Helm's Deep. What news from the east? I hope our messenger made it to you safely. So just ask him Helm's Deep. It is the most secure place in Rohan to defend against attack. You tell the soldiers that the main forces of Saruman are converging on Helm's Deep. Do you order them to go there? And you'll want to say yes. The guards realize that it will be impossible to hold the ford and retreat to Helm's Deep. And just continue along the path, and soon you'll come to a fight here with some Dunlin soldiers. And this is why you wanted to say yes when it prompted you to take some of Theoden's soldiers with you, so they could help you with this fight, mostly. This is the most difficult one you'll have to do in the Gandalf section. But All these guys except Gandalf here are temporary party members, so you don't have to be too worried if they take a lot of damage, like this guy here, because this is the only part you have to use them. So even if they die, no need to be too concerned about it. And you also have the option to take their bows or their armor if you want to, but there really isn't any reason to, since, again, these are temporary party members. Hopefully we can get it here. Yep, there we go. And then after this fight is over, you'll just want to go off the path to the west and just continue along the southern side of the mountains here. And soon you'll come to a dead end, and then you'll have to start going south. Should be here in a second. Yep, right here. See paragraph number 28. As you approach the cliff wall, you can see Erkenbrand and a handful of loyal warriors, their backs against each other for protection against an onslaught of vicious Uruk-hai. The bodies of hundreds of orcs and hillmen lie amid scores of slain warriors from Aedoras. The orcs turn to greet you, sensing fresh meat. The battle to save Erkenbrand has begun. And this is the only other battle you'll have to do with these guys. And this one's a little bit easier. The orcs are just easier enemies. And you also have Erkenbrand and a couple of other soldiers that you get to use in this battle to help you. And you also have the option, there's some orc archers, so when you kill them you can take their bows if you want to. Just a couple more hits, we should be able to get them. And just one more. There we go. Erkenbrand tells his men, time is of the essence. The armies of Isengard are knocking on the great gates of the Hornburg, to Helm's Deep. Far to the north, smoke rises over the Tower of Isengard. As you travel to Helm's Deep, you wonder about the significance of this. All eyes are drawn to the Rohirrim fortress of Helm's Deep, where Saruman makes his final assault on the forces of Rohan. And you'll be back here with Aragorn and company, so you'll just want to go to the west along the path here, and you'll come to Helm's Deep here, but you don't want to enter it quite yet. There's some other things we can do, so you'll just want to go north between the river and the fortress here. Searching the stream, you have found large and small rocks. You can pick up the small stones, but not even Boromir, who was incredibly strong, could have picked up these boulders. So just take just one of the rocks. You only need to take one of them. Then go north again and you'll come to a gap in the mountains. And like we did with Gandalf, just use the mountains as your guide and continue along them to the west. This culvert is an orc camp. The loads of mountaineering gear around the site indicate that the orcs scaled the cliffs in order to find a better entrance. So just another orc fight. We'll have to take them out. But now that you have your other party members back, like your main guys, not those extra guys that Gandalf had, those guys are a little bit weaker than the normal party members you're used to. So this fight will be a little bit easier. But you do want to keep your eye on these characters' health, because you'll need them to be pretty healthy for the Battle of Helm's Deep when we get to that part. And you can take the axe or the ale if you want to, and just keep going along the mountains to the west. And you're looking for this little part right here. The majestic mountain pass ends at a hole in the ground. It is dark below, but there's enough light to the cave floor only a few feet below. So you'll just want to use your climb skill to go down in there. And you'll be in the underground caverns underneath Helm's Deep. Orcs. A scouting party of Sarumans has breached the caves. They must not be allowed to escape, lest they have discovered a hole in your defenses. So another quick little fight here. Almost got him here. Last one. There we go. And you can take these guys' weapons as well, the sword and the axe. And you want to look for a part of the cavern on the western side over here. The sound of your footsteps is unusually loud in this great cavern. So I think you can do this. Let me just double check. No, you can't. Yeah, whenever you get that message, it'll cause you a little bit of damage from the falling rocks. But I haven't figured out how to get it to not do that. I've tried sneak, devices, detect traps. I tried using the rock just now to maybe that could work. But if anybody does know how to get that to not trigger, that would be cool to know. But we have triggered it, so we're going to get a little bit of damage here. The sky is falling. Your footsteps have shaken some of the stalactites above you loose, and they crash down upon you. So you'll just take a little bit of damage there, and then just keep going to the western part. See paragraph number 69. This dark and dismal chamber was obviously cut from the living rock by the hands of men. It is also quite obviously someone's tomb. The walls are decorated with bas-relief images of women serving the man. He is a great warrior, with a chest the size of a water barrel and arms as large as most warriors' necks. His long flowing beard belies a barbarian's heritage. The only unusual thing about this old king's panorama of fantasy is the set of metal gauntlets the king is always wearing. Surely the great lord resting here would not have passed on to his eternal paradise without taking his most prized treasure with him. In the rear of the chamber, set deep into the wall, is a stone slab. From this distance, you can see that there is a humanoid form lying atop the sarcophagus. The glint of metal catches your eye. So let's get a little closer and investigate. This tomb was recently opened. The large skeleton of Haleth, Helm's son, rests eternally upon this slab of cold stone. His skeleton is wearing a shining gauntlet on his right hand. So it looks like he only has one of the gauntlets when the text was talking about a set. So we'll have to find the other one. So you can take this one. Let's give him to Gimli. I think he has some free space. As you touch the gauntlet, the bones turn to dust, and a spectral form rises from the slab. And you'll just have to fight the ghost, but it should be super easy, because there's only one of him. There you go. The gauntlets seem to be magical. They give you a feeling of intense physical strength. Alright, so we're going to want to find the other one, which actually isn't too far away. If you go to the eastern part of the cave, there's a little pool here. The pool in this dark and dismal cave is filled with cool, fresh water. However, your feet feel warmer the deeper they go into the pool. There might be something unusual down there. Will you hold your breath and take a look? So you'll want to say yes. There's something we can find over here. On the face of the wall, you find a horrific scene, faintly etched into the dirt. A dragon attacking a village. And you can use your perception skill here to get a little bit more information about that. There is a faint inscription, barely legible. So impressed was Saruman by the strength of Helm that he made him 2 magical gauntlets. but Helm distrusted magic, and used them but once, when from the bowels of the earth a great evil arose. Well, that sounds a little ominous, so we'll need to find the other gauntlet in case we need to deal with whatever it's talking about in the picture. And we can find that in this part of the cave here. I think there's some battles and stuff that you can trigger, and maybe like gems, little things like that you can find, but this is the only important thing we'll need to do in this level. Glancing at the floor of the cave, you think that part of it may have been displaced long ago. So we can use our perception here, and we'll find the other gauntlet. The gauntlets seem to be magical. They give you a feeling of intense physical strength. Same thing we got when we got the other one. These naturally heated springs are refreshing and invigorating. There's a deep hole in the pool. Do you hold your breath and take a look? And that'll just take you back out, so you'll want to say yes. And now that we have the gauntlets, we'll need to go back to the riverbank where the boulder was and grab one of those. There's like something I can't go through there for some reason. Weird. Go back in the pool. No. Alright, let's go around this way. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why it wouldn't let me like go through there. But anyways, you want to go back to the part you climbed down to get into this area. A hole in the ceiling reveals the clear sky above. This must be the secret exit from Aglarond. Now it must be seen where the pass above leads to. But since we came in that way, we already know where it leads. So just climb back out and just backtrack to the riverbank by the same way. Back to the little gap in the mountains here. Searching the stream, you have found large and small rocks. Same thing about Boromir, can't even pick them up. So what you'll want to do after that, get out of the prompt to get the rock, and then use either the gauntlets or the giant hands, either one. Using the gauntlets, you manage to lift the boulder. It is still an incredible struggle, but apparently you can just carry it around with you in your pocket. No problem. But anyways, grab one of the boulders and then go back the same way to the hole, except we're going to go in the caves a different way this time. So you'll want to skip this little area where you climb down, and then just go around the path to the south. And then it'll dead end and you'll enter this area of the caves. The guards attempt to halt your progress towards the mines until they notice Hama in your ranks. You may proceed ahead. A large sign mounted into the far wall gives directions as follows. West, provisions, guards only. South, main caverns. East, abandoned mines, do not enter. Yeah, this is actually the caverns, where all the citizens of Rohan are taking refuge. So you can go here. This is like an optional kind of part. You can gather some resources here if you want to stock up on things before you have to do the Helm's Deep battle. But there's not anything super useful here. While children play amid this great cavern, the women are busy making arrows and sharpening weapons of war for husbands, sons, and fathers. There are many sleeping areas around the cavern and a pool to the south. Yeah, you don't need to go to that part, and this is actually the only part you need to go. There is a mine shaft here, which serves as passage between the layers of the glittering caves. So you can use your perception skill here. A careful examination reveals that the elevator is not in working order, but might be fixed by one who knows about machines. So you can use Gimli's devices skill. You've repaired the machine. The elevator is now in working order. You have descended to a deeper level of the caves. It'll automatically take you down. If you don't have the devices, or if you just don't want to use it, you can also use the climb to just climb down the mine shaft. And you'll be in this underground layer here. The southern wall is decorated with a magnificent fresco of a great black-winged dragon. The scene is of a warrior lord battling the beast single-handed. Legend says Helm of the Hammerhand defeated this dragon and used a dragon in his standard. well, hopefully that's not the beast that it was talking about in the panorama we saw on the other level. Because that would be a tall order to take out a dragon. So you want to continue along the path here to the south, and it'll say, see paragraph number 132. The tunnels here look much different than any of the others in the rest of the mine. These walls are blackened with soot, and the smell of smoke, brimstone, and decay is everywhere. All along the walls, the black caked-out layer bears deep slashes, as if something monstrous has been trying to scratch its way out for a very long time. On the floor are scattered remnants of victims and victor alike. Rent suits of armor, soiled dresses, and bloodied infant wear intermingle with huge scales, human bones, and the odd reptilian tooth. The smell of the beast is everywhere, and a pervading aura of evil lingers like a heavy mist in the air. Definitely very ominous sounding. But you'll just want to still continue along the path to the south. I think there's like weapons and stuff you can get if you go off on the side areas, but you also have to do combat sections. So you'll just want to keep going south, and you'll come to a part where you have to fight some bats here. But not super difficult, even for hobbits, so with the party we have here, it should be no problem. In fact, the only thing that's kind of an issue is trying to position yourself in these caves, like the same issue we had in Moria. So it's good to use characters with ranged weapons. And you can get a gem if you want to. See paragraph number 161. 161. The huge natural cavern before you can only be the dread dragon's den. It is littered with the refuse of 1,000 lost souls and their belongings. There is no orderly pile of draconian possession here, just a jumbled mass of theft and avarice. To the southeast is a great gaping hole in the floor, large enough for a ship to sail into, going who knows how deep into the bowels of the earth. Suddenly a booming roar echoes up from the hole, as your host makes his presence known. Leave, mortals, or you will face certain death. I give you only one chance to retreat, for I am full of soft pink meat, and have no need for more. Stay, and your doom shall soon rise to meet you. Well, I think that will be probably a pretty good place for us to bring this episode to a close, and we will decide what we're going to do about confronting this dragon in the next video.